When it comes to these gun-grabbing, freedom-hating, over-regulating, civil liberty violating tyrants, here's my message. Thank you.
That message in finger form is still reverberating after State Representative Bobby Kaufman received both support and criticism from members of his own party. One of those, the family leader, President Bob Vander Plaats, joined us on the 4 o'clock news yesterday to say that that was not the proper way to lead, nor to have a debate.
But Kaufman is standing his ground and ready to talk. Political Director Dave Price joins us now. Dave, a lot of people are talking about this.
They are. Representative Kaufman made his comments and his gesture at an event in the Capitol Rotunda at the Iowa State House on Tuesday. Some fellow lawmakers, like Fairfield's Republican Jeff Shipley, have publicly expressed their support for his message back then. Other Republicans, like Bob Vander Plaats, as we mentioned, found it to be inappropriate. Representative Bobby Kaufman is joining us now between committee meetings from the State House via Zoom. So, Representative, first off, why? Why did you think this was the way to go?
Well, what I did was quite simple. I channeled what many people in my district and in this state have been thinking and wanting to do and wanting to say. I just happened to be the one to do it, to say it, and to gesture it. So no, I don't regret what I did whatsoever. And the outpouring of support, I have definitely received some criticisms, no question about that. But in my inbox, in my Twitter feed, on my cell phone, the number of constituents back home, regular Iowans, not partisan, Democrat and Republican, that said, thank you for standing up to a tyrannical federal government. Thank you so much for being our voice, has been overwhelming, and over 90% of the responses that I've gotten.
But it's one thing to do that when you're having beers with buddies. You're a public official in a public setting. Why is it appropriate in that setting?
Well, it's very appropriate because of the following. Right now, the federal government is creating a dangerous environment for families. You've got people who are wondering if their kids' educational savings accounts are going to keep dwindling, their 401ks, their retirements, their wallets, their paychecks. You're seeing the dollar bill go not nearly as far as it used to. You see rampant open borders. You see soaring crime across the country. When people fear for their lives and their loved ones and their well-being, they're going to lash out. And so we've tried being nice. We've tried asking the federal government to fix all of this, but it just keeps getting worse. So at some point, when your financial livelihood, when your civil liberties, when you are having your own federal government come down on you with illegal mandates and spending money like drunken sailors, the time for nice is over, and the time to say things that catches attention is now. And clearly what I said caught some attention, thankfully.
Why not just vote them out rather than flipping them off?
Well, we're going to, but when you've got a inflation that is going so out of control that the same dollar that you had a year ago isn't even going a third as far, and the same dollar that you're going to have a year from now, Lord knows how far that's going to go. Well, you have to choose between how much food you can put on your family's plate versus how many clothes you can buy versus whether you can make their payment for their college savings plan. The time for just being nice and waiting around and chit-chatting is over.
Bob Vander Plaats was on yesterday, as we mentioned, and he pointed out that he agrees with you on almost every issue. He just thinks that this is not the way to demonstrate leadership, and maybe even more broadly, at a time when some of your party is focusing on books in schools, things like that, what's obscene, what's not. He thinks a gesture like this, which he considers obscene, kind of hurts the cause. What do you think?
I find it very interesting for Bob Vander Plaats to be talking about character and leadership. This is the guy that President Trump openly accused of attempting to sell him his endorsement, of attempting to stay in his hotels for free for his family. Senator Santorum's confirmed that Bob Vander Plaats tried to take money off them. Bob Vander Plaats has not been relevant in Iowa politics in over a decade. He's basically a paid grifter put over with the cloak of Christianity. So what Bob Vander Plaats has to say has no bearing on me whatsoever. What matters is what the people back home are saying, and at an overwhelming rate, they're saying thank you for standing up to a federal government that is far overreaching into our lives.
One of those people back home is your dad, Jeff, who's not just your dad, but he's a former lawmaker and he's the head of the Republican Party of Iowa. What did he think of it?
He doesn't choose what I say. I don't tell him what to say. And so people probably think we coordinate these things and talk behind the scenes, but really I think he's watching from the sidelines and not going to get involved because I don't dictate what he says and he doesn't dictate what I say.
But surely you two have talked since then.
Of course we've had conversations, but most of it centered around the cattle water being frozen. And I can assure you that I had a few choice words for that as well.
Hey, let's end with some policy here. So you all put out your tax plan on the Republican side for House members. You got your plan, the governor's plan, and the Senate Republicans' plan. They're all kind of different here. How's this going to end up with one, and whose will win out?
Well, we're in a beautiful position. When many states like Illinois are begging for federal handouts just to balance their budget, we're sitting on $1 billion surplus and having this very conversation. How much of your taxes can we cut? How quickly can we cut them? And where can we cut them? So I'm not looking for winners and losers. We're going to come together as a governing trifecta and return hard-earned money to the taxpayers.
All right, Representative Bobby Kaufman, appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Dan and Janae, back to you.
Yeah, we're back with more 4 o'clock news right after this. Thank you, Dave.